All right, let's get to some more
Your
serious
shoe.
things. Our next guest, Chris Baker, founder of Ink180. It's a tattoo parlor, but it's also
A ministry.
ministry.
Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Baker. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing, Amy? Thanks for having me
Good,
on,
good,
John.
good.
Hey, bud.
Yes. So, John has been saying that you know information about alleged sex trafficking. It happens at events. It happens.
Everywhere.
It happens everywhere. It doesn't even have to take place in an event. And sadly, we have lost, or not we, the Biden-Harris administration has lost. I don't know how this happened. Some 300,000 children at our border. And do you believe that most of them are being forced into sex trafficking, or some of them?
I believe a lot of them are either caught up in sex trafficking or labor trafficking. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what happened here at the DNC a few weeks ago?
So we do different events throughout the year, Super Bowl, Kentucky Derby, stuff like that. And of course, this year with the conventions, and convention being here in Chicago for the DNC, we decided we were going to add that to the list. So it's a group of roughly 250 to 300 people working together with retired military special ops, retired police officers, current police officers, federal law enforcement. We don't get to do the cool kicking indoors stuff that they do, but we provide assistance through some software tools that we have to help locate those who are being trafficked around an event. And around the DNC, we did a 6-day search, and there were 77 victims recovered.
Wow, where did you find them? Like, how old were they? Can you guys, not tell us about them personally, but information
Right.
about where you recovered them and what was their reaction?
So most of the recoveries took place around hotels, motels, strip clubs, and massage parlors. Very few were like street level working. But yeah, age range. The youngest was 15, and the oldest was 47. We had 10 males recovered and 67 females recovered.
Oh my God. That is, and how did any of them tell you their stories, like how they got roped into it? And were they trying to leave? Like, were you guys their heroes?
We don't look at it like that. We look at it as, going after one at a time, right? And some of them shared some things with us. Most of them were too afraid to. And then they were placed immediately into residential care where they can actually get the help that they need. Nobody told us that they did it on their own. They were forced into it by people, some by family, some by people they didn't know. Some of them were homeless on the streets or ran away from foster care or protective care and then wound up on the streets where these traffickers find them. And unfortunately, they force them into this world and get them hooked on hard drugs to keep them doing what they're doing. And they face extreme violence from these pimps and traffickers as well.
Yeah. And Chris, I think people don't really understand just how prevalent this is in Illinois. And when you look at, because a lot, I talk to people, I try to tell them, people think the border my anger about the border crossings, they don't really understand it. Most of my anger is tied towards this human labor trafficking, sex trafficking that comes across our border. Talk to the people about why this is an important discussion and what are some of the solutions that people that are listening can do to help combat this.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the problem, John. I agree 100%. This election is critical for us all. We got to get this under control.
Yeah.
We've seen it far too much. I grew up in Los Angeles, so I was much closer to it then than I am now here in Chicagoland. But we see the results of it every single day. And this search was no different. As far as what people can do, this is going on here every day. This wasn't a special thing that came in because of the DNC. We saw during the week of the DNC, we did see a 147% increase in the number of online sex ads in Chicagoland.
Wow.
But this is something that goes on every single day in every part of this country. It's not just in the city, the inner city, the suburbs. It's rural. It's everywhere. One of the things that I look at, and I've been addressing with different churches across the state and the Midwest, is we're trying to put events together, men's events. And one of the things that really doesn't get addressed enough in the fight against sex trafficking is, things like porn addiction. things that drive people to go out and buy sex, right? I think we need to be a lot more vocal about that, and that it has to be a huge part of this fight and this discussion, because the question of what drives a person to go out and buy sex is a huge part of the problem.
So you said you saved 67 girls and 10 boys or young.
Yes.
Were they mostly teenage boys or young men? Okay. Then was anybody arrested? I mean, so after you save these people, then do you go after the pimp, or do you point police in that direction?
We do. We point them in that direction, let them do what they do. But yes, there were arrests made. I don't know the statistics on how many of those at this point, but yeah.
And Chris, let's talk about what you do over in I don't want to say you. Should I give out the town you're in? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Over in Oswego. One of the way I met Chris, I believe it was 2009, 2010 when I was a sheriff's deputy. But when I became a state representative, as I said on the show yesterday, Chris came to me and said, "Hey, we have so many young people who I have to remove their tattoos, but they can't come into my shop because they're under 18, and you have to have permission, and most of the people don't have permission to come in." Chris, speak to the work that Ink180 is doing, not just here in Illinois, but you guys travel as well. Speak to the work that you're doing and how people can assist you in the work that you're doing.
Sure. So Ink180 started, we formed the nonprofit in 2011, really just to start using the gifts that God gave us to help people get a second chance by removing the tattoos that defined their old life. Sex trafficking tattoos, gang tattoos, domestic violence, stuff like that. We do an awful lot of trafficking tattoo removals. We're federal partnered with Homeland Security, FBI, U.S. attorneys, safe houses across the country. I travel quite a bit, getting those frequent flyer miles up. But this is a problem across the country. We do big events. Every year we do the Super Bowl. We did the Super Bowl in Vegas this past year. There were a record number of recoveries at 539 over a 2.5-week period.
Wow.
I also removed and covered about 110 tattoos at the Super Bowl. I've got a survivor coming in today for removal. It's an everyday thing for us, and we do all that work free of charge just to help get that that horrible visual reminder off of their body, so they don't have to look at it and constantly be triggered back to that time period.
And is it a number, or is it a code, or what do they do?
No, I mean, when we started it, we used to see a lot of barcode tattoos. We don't see as many barcodes anymore. We see a lot more things that say, property of so-and-so. We see gang tattoos because gangs have become very prevalent in the world of trafficking, and they mark them with their gang tattoos.
And you have a tree.
We have the Freedom Tree here in the shop. I'm actually sitting here staring at it right now, but every time we remove or cover a tattoo for a trafficking survivor, we painted a tree on a 12-by-12 canvas in the back room of the shop, and they put their handprints up on the tree to just kind of put their flag in the sand and say that part of my life is dead and gone, and I'm moving forward with my life. And it's a great place for us to sit and pray and reflect. And times like right now, and finances are tight and tough to come by, and keep this thing going. It's where we sit and pray.
So how does people? So this tattoo of my son. This is the suicide tattoo of my son's name. Chris actually did that for me.
Oh, that's.
I went there, did it, and he did it for me. But Chris, I know this about what you do, and most of the stuff that you do, because you're a man of God and a minister. How can people who are listening to this show? Can they come out and tour the place? How can they give money?
Yeah.
Can they come out there and help you as you go across the state of Illinois or across the country? Are there any opportunities for people to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, they can check out our website, Ink180.com. People can donate there. We do all this work free of charge, and we just do it because it's what we've been called to do by God. But we do have opportunities for people to get involved in searches. We can train them. It's a process of background checks and training classes, but we do that all the time. We love doing that. Our shop is open to the public. It's an open door. The only time that's not true is if I have a trafficking survivor in here, and then we go on a full lockdown mode. But I love to give people tours, have people come in, talk to them about it. People come to me all the time, and they're like, Chris, I want to get involved, but I'm not sure how. Can you help me kind of navigate that? Love to do that, too. Our phone number is 630-554-1404. But, yeah, we are here in Oswego, right behind Oswego High School.
Yeah, what if there's some people who want to invite you out to speak or to bring out – you still got the ambo?
Don't have the ambulance anymore, but, yeah, we do events all across the country. We speak. And, in fact, I'm getting ready for some right now out in Oregon and Pacific Northwest. But, yeah, we love to come into churches, organizations, schools, whatever. We do social media safety classes. We do educational events on trafficking. We don't charge for that. We just ask for donations to the ministry. But, yeah.
Well, you're doing God's work.
He is.
Sound of freedom.
Yeah.
Oswego style.
Well, my first bill was Chris's idea. That was, I mean, and we did
tell
another.
people your bill.
Yeah. So basically, I kind of alluded to it, where people who are sex trafficked or gang members, they can come into a tattoo parlor now without a parental notification.
Okay.
Right. And that was Chris's brain. And we did another tattoo bill. I forget the other one, where I reached out to you and you gave me advice on.
Yeah.
The Department of
we
Health.
had we have a lot of especially sex trafficking gang members that are underage that, because of the work that we did together, are able to come in and get that stuff removed so they can start fresh. So it was a beautiful thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris Baker, founder of Ink180 Tattoo and Ministries and Saving Lives. God bless you.
Love you, brother.
Thank you. God bless you guys, too. Have a great day.
You too, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. American hostages are being held by a terrorist regime that just recently executed one of them as he was nearly liberated. The murder of 6 hostages came in the tunnels under Rafah, where Kamala Harris and Joe Biden famously and repeatedly told Israel not to fight. I've studied the maps, Kamala Harris said, as she warned Israel not to go into Rafah. Israel restrained and Hersh Goldberg Poland was executed, where Biden and Harris pressured Israel not to